Limitless revolves around the life of Eddie Morra, a loser who lacks the drive and discipline to pursue his passion. He is a struggling author with writer's block, so frustrated with his lack of progress. His girlfriend, Lindy, played by Abby Cornish, breaks up with him, and yet there is every reason to dump him. She is a successful young professional woman, but I can't say this was a sneaky move by her. Vernon, his ex-brother-in-law, gives him NZT-48, a drug that will help him focus and finish his book, a pill that gives him access to 100% of his brain. Eddie is going back to his apartment and gets the drug. Suddenly, he puts his entire brain online. He discovers he now has a perfect remembrance of everything he has ever read. He would clean his apartment obsessively in the next few hours and finish his novel at typing speed. The effects had worn off, so the next day he brought the pages he wrote to his publisher, and she loved it. Human brains are supercomputers built with limitless possibilities and potential. Mother Nature has built us with such a large potential. Unfortunately, even by toiling all through life, even the smartest scientists can hardly use more than 10% of their brain. But Eddie found the miracle supplement and got addicted to it. So, as you can guess, he seeks out Vernon for more NZT-48. Unfortunately, Vernon is murdered while he is running errands for him. But if you want something very strong, you'll find it, especially if your career depends on it. Eventually, Eddie locates Vernon's NZT-48 supply and decides to consume the drug daily. The supplement helps him process sensory data as well as process actions at a dazzling speed. After that, he spends a few weeks cleaning up his life with the help of the drug's effects. And there it comes that famous quote, "All my fear, all my shyness gone, but mere lounging wasn't enough. Only problem? If I wasn't moving forward, I felt like I was going to explode." But how would you use this magical supplement if you had it? It was a matter of time before he started testing his analytical skills on the stock market. And you can see where this is going. He quickly started making large returns on small investments. He instantly knows how to handle situations that used to baffle him. He parlays the capital of $100,000 borrowed from a Russian loan shark, Gennady, into over $2 million in just a week. He is known as the Wall Street guru of the age. Back on his feet now, his life is not just getting back to normal, but it has become much better. He resumes his relationship with Lindy and even manages to get a meeting with finance tycoon Carl Van Loon. But when you meet a big shark like this, you need to be ready to go through some exams. The tycoon tests him by searching for a piece of advice on a merger with Hank Atwood's company. That's not a problem for Eddie, but anyway, not everything is going great. He begins to experience time lapses in his memory after this meeting. Eddie goes through Vernon's ledger only to find out that those on the NZT-48 drug are ending up either in the hospital or dead. The second possibility is more likely to happen. As he learns more and more about this supplement, he realizes that the side effects are much worse than he could have ever imagined. He then meets Melissa, who reveals that she is also using the same drug. However, once she tried to stop consuming, she experienced severe physical and mental rebound effects. There is no balance between what you're getting and what you're losing. You are getting a lot, and you're losing everything. Would you make such a deal? But Eddie has some other issues over his head. As Eddie's use of the drug brings him success and wealth, Gennady becomes more interested in him and begins to treat him with more respect. However, the relationship remains tense, as Gennady is aware that Eddie is becoming more powerful and independent, and he wants to maintain control over him. Eventually, Gennady becomes threatened by Eddie's increasing influence and tries to have him killed. We were just waiting for the moment when Gennady would come and seek for his money to be paid back with interest immediately. As he catches Eddie, he injects NZT-48 as well, and the addiction starts right away. But as Eddie is the only guy he knows that possesses the drug, he started using him as his source for supply. Eddie finally learns how to control his dosage of the drug, food intake, and sleep schedule to prevent the side effects. He hires 2 bodyguards to protect him from Gennady, an attorney to keep the police from investigating Vernon's death, and a laboratory in an attempt to reverse engineer NZT-48. Atwood has fallen into a coma, and his wife informs Van Loon on the day of the merger. Eddie realizes that Atwood is on NZT-48 as well, while the man in the trench coat who used to follow him everywhere is actually his driver. In the meantime, his attorney steals the whole supply of NZT-48 from his jacket while he participates in a police lineup. Soon after, Van Loon questions him about Atwood's coma. Eddie enters withdrawal and hurries home. Gennady breaks into Eddie's apartment and confronts Eddie over the unpaid debt, and during the altercation, Gennady pulls out a gun and tries to kill Eddie. However, Eddie is able to disarm him and kill his henchman in self-defense, and escapes. In the next scene, he is meeting the man in a trench jacket, suspecting that Atwood had employed the guy to find more of an NZT-48 drug. But after Atwood dies, they finally recover Eddie's stash from his attorney. In the end, he has finally published the book, retained his wealth, and is running for the United States Senate. Van Loon visits him and reveals he shut down Eddie's laboratory and that he has absorbed the company that produced NZT-48. So, he offers Eddie a constant supply of the drug in exchange for becoming his personal lobbyist. However, he tells Van Loon that he weaned himself off it and he has already perfected the drug, retaining his abilities with none of the side effects. The movie ends with Eddie Morra, the main protagonist, successfully overcoming his dependence on the drug NZT-48, which had been giving him enhanced cognitive abilities, but was also causing dangerous side effects. After a series of intense events, Eddie discovers that the effects of the drug can be extended indefinitely if he takes it in a combination with a special enzyme. However, he also realizes that the long-term consequences of this could be fatal. Ultimately, Eddie chooses to wean himself off the drug, using his enhanced intellect to solve the problems in his life and to develop a new drug that does not have the negative side effects of NZT-48. In the final scene, he meets with a wealthy businessman who is interested in investing in his new drug and hints at the possibility of a sequel. As mentioned before, he is also able to repair his relationship with Lindy. In the final scene, they both meet at a Chinese restaurant where he orders in perfectly fluent Mandarin. It is implied that Eddie is no longer using the NZT-48 drug and has found a way to maintain his enhanced cognitive abilities through other means. The movie ends on a hopeful note, with Eddie and Lindy together, and Eddie in a position of success and stability. And in the end, it is important to mention that NZT-48 does not actually exist in real life. While there are many cognitive enhancers or nootropics that can improve cognitive function in various ways, there is no known substance that can provide the same level of cognitive enhancement as NZT-48 in the movie. It's important to note that the portrayal of NZT-48 in the movie is a work of fiction, and that using any drug to enhance cognitive function can have serious health consequences.